Hi, I'm Cosmic Scout, the developer behind the PSBBN Definitive Patch. Here's this month's update on everything that's new with PSBBN. Last time I told you that PCM 720 managed to bypass PSBBN's CRC security check, and this would unlock a bunch of new features that weren't previously possible. It has already enabled the swapping of the cross and circle buttons, as well as adding support for the PlayStation 2 DVD remote control. Now we're going much deeper. Most of the new features I'm demonstrating today simply weren't possible before. PSBBN runs on Linux, and beneath those flashy menus is a very dated Linux operating system. It uses the ReiserFS file system, which is no longer supported by modern Linux distributions. This means we couldn't directly access or manipulate the PSBBN system files directly on the PC. Until now. I compiled the PSBBN kernel with support for ext2, a file system widely supported on modern Linux systems. This allows PSBBN's file system to be mounted on a PC and gives direct access to all PSBBN system files. This brings several benefits. PSBBN is no longer installed by writing a disk image to your drive. It now uses a tar archive. The download size is significantly smaller, now only 145 megabytes. Installing with a tar reduces unnecessary wear and tear on your SSD. The install time is drastically faster. PSBBN used to take around 20 minutes to install. Now it only takes around 10 seconds. The transition to ext2 also enables direct access to PSBBN's media partitions and databases. One of the new features I'll be talking about today makes good use of this. A lot has changed, so let's head over to the Linux desktop and I'll give you a tour. When you update to the latest version of the PSBBN Definitive Patch, you'll notice there is now only one script to rule them all, the PSBBN Definitive Patch.sh. This is now your entry point to everything PSBBN, so let's run the script. If you've just updated or this is your first time running the script, it will automatically run the setup routing and install any dependencies you might be missing. Once that is done, you'll be presented with the new main menu. First, let's select option 1 to install PSBBN. You'll be asked to choose your PS2's drive. For me, that is /dev/SDF. Type yes to confirm your choice. The new PSBBN Definitive Patch tar archive will then download. Now you can partition the first 128 GB of the drive, which is reserved for the PS2's APA partitions. You have slightly more space to play with than previously. The max partition size is now 111 GB, up from 104 GB. First, the music partition. This is where your music is stored. I'll set it to 30 GB. Now set a size for the contents partition. This is where your photos and movies are stored. Previously, it was locked at 5 GB, but now you can set a custom size. I'll go with 30 GB. Finally, the Pops partition is where PlayStation 1 games are stored. I'll set it to 40 GB. You'll then be given a summary of your choices. I recommend leaving at least 3 GB free for future use. Press Y to confirm your choices. As I said before, the install is now very fast and only takes around 10 seconds. It is now running APA-JAL, which is creating an exFAT partition using the remaining drive space after the first 128 GB, up to a maximum of 2 TB. And PSBBN is now installed. Press any key to return to the main menu. If you have already installed PSBBN Definitive Patch version 2.10 or later, you can update to the latest version by selecting option 2 from the main menu. It's necessary for existing users to update, as the new features I'll be talking about later will require at least version 3.0. The update process is very quick. Unlike the previous update, no USB stick or keyboard is required. If you previously had the PlayStation Basic bootloader installed, you will need to reinstall it in the Extras menu. Once the update is complete, disconnect the drive from your PC, connect it to your PS2 console and boot into PSBBN to complete the update process. Back to the main menu, let's press option 3 and install some games and apps. Not much has changed with the game installer. You still put your games and homebrew apps in the games folder or set a custom location. You can sync or add additional games. You will be asked one additional question. Would you like to enable the HD TV fix for PlayStation 1 games? If you get a black screen when launching a PS1 game, it usually means that your TV does not support 240p. Say yes to the HD TV fix and you will find that your games now play fine on your TV. Game title ID extraction is now much better for PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games. Also, previously when you installed games in a ZSO format, the game installer would have to completely decompress the file to extract the game ID. That could be very time consuming. It now only decompresses the necessary sectors, making the process of installing ZSO games much faster. There is also now no need for the game installer to rename your ZSO files with the game ID as a prefix. Now let's look at the optional extras. PS2 Linux is now an optional install. You can also use this option to reinstall PS2 Linux. You must be running Definitive Patch version 3.0 to use this feature. You can now set a custom size for your home partition, as space was very limited before. That's for the couple of PS2 Linux power users out there. Changing the enter button to cross rather than circle was a highly requested feature, but I guess I can't please everyone. You can now select option 5 from the extras menu to swap the cross and circle buttons. That brings me to the star of the show, the all-new media installer. Select option 4 from the main menu to access the media installer menu. You can now install music for playback on the PSBBN music channel. To install music, you must be running Definitive Patch 3.0 or later. If you upgraded to version 3.0 from a lower version, you must initialize the music partition first. So select option 5. Initializing the music partition will erase all existing music data. Enter Y to confirm. It only takes a few seconds. After that, you're ready to install music. Select option 1 from the media installer menu. The music installer supports MP3, M4A, FLAC and OGG files. You will find a new media folder in the main PSBBN Definitive Patch folder. In there you will find a music folder. This is where your music files go. I've already got some files prepared. Your files can be directly in the music folder or in subfolders. You can also set a custom path by selecting Set Media Location from the media installer menu. Press any key to begin installing music. Your music will be converted to PCM, the format used by the music channel. PSBBN's music database will then be updated. Let's pop this drive back into the PS2 console and take a look at the music channel. PSBBN actually makes a pretty good music player. It stores music in a lossless format and has a digital audio output, plus the remote control is now fully supported. As you can see, the albums we installed now appear in the music channel with the correct album titles. As well as artists and track names. All this information is extracted from the music files metadata. A number of people have been asking about album art for music. After completely deconstructing the database, I can confirm that album art is not supported. I was hoping to find a way, but unfortunately it's a feature that Sony never implemented. The only downside at the moment is that due to Sony's DRM and the way the music partition is now created, Minidisc support is currently broken. I know it's a very niche feature, but I hope to fix it with a future update. So that's the music installer and PSBBN Definitive Patch 3.0. I hope to add a photo installer and a movie installer with a future update. One last thing, PSBBN has a brand new icon in Browser 2.0, courtesy of Yawn. You can find the full release notes of this update on the GitHub page, along with an updated README. That just about covers everything for this month. If you appreciate the work I'm putting into the PSBBN Definitive patch and would like to support its continued development, you can contribute to my Ko-fi. You will find a link in the description and the pinned comment. Thanks to everyone who has contributed so far. I've been pouring practically all my free time into this project since December. It's your appreciation and messages of encouragement that keep me going. If you want to keep up to date with the latest developments, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Twitter, Blue Sky or Ko-fi. As always, all links will be in the description. But for now, this is Cosmic Scale signing out.